Good morning, Cedar Creek friends. I thought that I'd start this video out showing you this beautiful morning. The birds are singing. It's quiet so far. And I thought I'd show you the elderberries here. Some of their tops are beginning to ripen some. We got a ways to go, probably August before they're ready. I don't know, it's been such a strange year that it might surprise me. That's a Show Creek Vitex, or a chase tree right behind it, that purple. And it's showing out this year. It's really pretty. And I've got other things that I could show you, but all of this right here is swampy, just full of water. We have rained and it's rained and it's rained. And I've got other beautiful Rose of Sharons and cannas and all kinds of things that have enjoyed the rain and are showing off, but I just cannot get out there to show you its swampy mess. And we are now starting to have a problem with mosquitoes in the early morning hours, and so I just thought I'd start off showing you the beauty of the day. So welcome back, everybody. It is sunny today. Those pictures I showed you, the little clip I showed you of the Vitex and the elderberry bushes was yesterday morning. We had overcast all day yesterday, and we worked on onions and getting some other projects done, and rained all night last night. It was stormy and nasty, and we got a lot of rain, and although the sun is shining today, it is just a swampy mess. We got another round of showers, I believe tomorrow or Friday, I think it is. And after that passes, we've got several days of sunshine. Hopefully everything can get dried out, because we need to mow again. We've not been able to mow a whole lot. Nobody has really a whole lot. We have the way that our ground lies, there are places that's just standing in water. And so by the time you let that kind of dry out, it has already rained again. We've had a really, really wet year, and it's affected gardening for a lot of people. Several in our church have replanted things 2 or 3 times. Our tomatoes and peppers are doing pretty good, but we've got those in raised tubs, in mineral tubs, cattle tubs, and so they haven't been they have good drainage, and so they haven't just been sitting in water, but the gardens are just spongied out. Our local farmers that grow sweet corn, they today was the first day that they were going to be selling sweet corn starting this morning, and they usually sell out just really early. You have to be there quick, but there were storms coming through this morning, so that had to be they said that if there were storms that they would put off until later in the day. So we'll see how that goes for them. They usually have pretty good sweet corn, but so far the rest of us are just kind of, things are coming in slowly. Some of us haven't been able to grow some of the crops that we normally grow because it's just too wet. But the sun is shining. It's warm, not hot, but we do have some hot days in the forecast, and the humidity is probably going to be a little bit higher with all the moisture and mosquitoes too. We have 2 ways out of Cedar Creek. One way you go around and you go across 2 little dips, and they're covered with water, of course. And the other way to go out, there is a culvert. Now, I couldn't think of culvert the other day. I do that every once in a while, and I was trying to think of it, and I could think of what I called it when I was a kid, and I mentioned it to our pastor's family, and they had never heard it called that, which was a whistle. They had heard of tin horn, and Howie said tin horn. And like I said, I grew up calling it a whistle. I don't know why. I must have heard other people refer to it as that, but the culvert has washed out, and it's washed out several different times since we've lived here. And the pasture, the hay patch across from me that I've showed you, there's a drainage ditch through there where all of the water runs off the pasture, the hay patch, and it collects in that area, and then it runs through that culvert, and it's supposed to run down the side of the road, it doesn't always do that. And several times it has just gotten really, really bad, plugged with stuff or washed, and it washes off into my pasture. And that's what's happened again this time. And then all of the materials, the road material that they put on top of the culvert has washed, and the majority of it is gone, and you can see the top of the culvert, that silver, the silver pipe, and you can see it, and the rest of it is covered in water. And how Bladen, when he went to work this morning, he texted Cheyenne back and said, if y'all go anywhere, be careful, because that's really bad. So we haven't gone anywhere. I probably won't get out to go to church tonight because of that. You know, I don't want to have any kind of problems. I'm in a car that's low. If I was in one of the trucks, I would not hesitate about it as much. Being in a little low to the ground car, it kind of concerns me. So anyway, we're here on the farm, and the road crew will come out and get that fixed, the road department, and there's some really nice people that takes care of our particular county road, and they're really nice individuals, and so they'll get on it pretty quick. But I imagine there's roads all over that need attention, because we have just gotten massive amounts of rain. Still not complaining about the rain, because I know that we're in Oklahoma, and I know what'll happen. It'll turn off hot, and it could even be dry. But then again, it might surprise me and be an entirely wet summer. It just, you just never know. And that's one of the reasons that we say it's good to try to grow as much of your own stuff as you can, and stock the stuff that you use, as much of it as that you grow yourself, canning and preserving and drying, dehydrating, freeze drying, all the different methods. But years like this, when it's wet and you can't get anything to grow, that would be a reason why you would consider stocking from other either other food farmers markets or fruit stands, or even going to the grocery store and buying your canned goods. There's no shame in that. And we've tried to figure out, we're still discussing how much of each thing that we want to try to stock for what our family eats. My family is a big green bean loving family, and so we've got it figured out how many quarts a week of green beans that we want to have for an entire year. And so we know that we have around here, there's some pretty good fruit stands and some farmers markets, and so we'll be able to buy some green beans. I know that a bushel of green beans will give you somewhere around 36-ish quarts of green beans, and that's not enough for us for an entire year. So we might buy several bushels, or we might buy a bushel, put up some fresh green beans, but then also subsidize that with grocery store green beans. And if you shop around, you can find green beans or any other vegetable reasonably priced. Now, some of your stuff seems like sauerkraut, and some of the different things like that, a little bit higher price than what we're used to paying. And so it just pays to shop around. And so that's what we're doing. But today I wanted to spend a little bit of the time with you. The boys are eating their lunch, and Cheyenne's taking advantage of that by getting some laundry washed, and she's cleaning and organizing and working on moving things around. She's thinking about some homeschool curriculum for the boys. She doesn't know whether she's debating preschool versus homeschooling them for that same purpose. And so she's working on all that, and she's a busy little mom. And so I'm out here taking advantage of that, enjoying a little bit of sunshine after days and days of none, and listening to the birds sing. Jumped up, I come out this morning, and I caught something out of the corner of my eye moving, and it was some deer just right out from the backyard, and had their babies with them. And the dogs never even knew they were here. I don't know what that says about our hunting dogs, but they never saw them. And then when I headed out for church the other day, there was some little twin fawns out in the road then, and it's just precious to watch nature and watch all of the creatures that are out in the wild, or at least out in the rural areas. Now, if I had my strawberries going, I might not be so happy to have those deer up here close to the house because they will eat them. But anyway, I enjoyed seeing those. Have you ever experienced running out of gas? I can remember one time in particular in the hot summertime when Blade was just a little bitty boy, and I was still working for the home offices at Walmart. And so I had picked him up from the babysitters and was on my way home when we lived in Arkansas. And I knew that I was pushing it on gas. And I knew that if I could just get to this little gas station on the way home where I always stop, that I'd get some gas. But I had pushed my luck a little further than what I should have pushed it. Should have stopped there in Pea Ridge and filled up with gas. And I thought, no, I'll just go to this other little place. And sure enough, I was going down Lee Town Road and I ran out of gas. And I was able to get the car steered off the road into this little little pasture, and was able to call my sister. At that time, Howie worked for Sears, running calls all over the place, working on appliances and heating and air conditioning. And so he was out of pocket, so I had to call my sister, and she brought some gas to me. But while we waited for her, Blade was impatient. He was just little. He was probably 3 or 4, and it was hot summertime, and of course there was no gas, and it was just miserable. And I told myself then, I will never ever ever allow myself to run out of gas again, because that was a hard thing to go through, with it as hot as it was, with the little one out there that was crying and upset because they were hot and they were tired after all day being away from home. And I had things to do. I needed to get home and cook supper, but it wasn't anyone's fault but mine. I did not pay attention to my car telling me by dinging every once in a while that I was low on fuel. That little fuel light stayed lit, and I made the conscious choice of not stopping, and I ended up paying for it. I had to put other people, I had to get other people out of what they were doing to come and to rescue me. Family, I know, they didn't mind, I don't think. But still, I put people in a position of having to leave what they were doing to come and help me. Made my little son uncomfortable, standing out there in the heat of the day. Different people would stop. They were so kind, making sure, did we need help, or did we have help on the way, and all that kind of stuff. But I was thinking about that running out of gas, and how we, in the natural, we sometimes push the limits. We have a bill that comes due, and we push it off just as far as we can push it. And other repairs that need to be done, we'll push them off because maybe the money's not there, maybe we don't have the time, maybe it's, surely it's an inconvenience, and so we just think, well, we'll just wait on it. Well, it's not. Something else will come along, and we have to weigh kind of in the balance which one of them is the most important. We as humans have that same kind of thing in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirits, and we get those caution lights every once in a while, those little warning signs, those ringing bells that go off that something's not quite right and we need to adjust. We're so busy in this life that sometimes we don't pay attention when life is telling us, or when our body is telling us, hey, we need you to slow down. We need you to take care of this thing that's becoming a problem in your physical body, or in your emotions, or in your spirit. We need you to pay attention to this thing, because down the road it's going to cause you a little bit of trouble, and we're giving you warning signs right now. And what do? We continue to push. We continue to move through it. We push through the pain sometimes in our physical body, and we ignore because somebody else has a need greater in our family than what we feel like we do in ourselves. And so we put ourselves last. Women, we're really bad about this with our children. We will wait when we have a need, sometimes not in the physical body, but sometimes we need new clothes or a pair of shoes, and not necessarily the latest thing. We just need something that's decent. And I watched my mom do it. I watched my mama do it over and over and over and over. She would be given money to go buy her something, an outfit or a pair of shoes or something that she really had need of, and something would arise with one of us kids, and she would go and spend it on us kids rather than to take it and spend it on herself. And I know that's part of being a mama. We do that a lot. But what I'm telling you is sometimes we have a warning sign. We have a warning signal that's saying, hey, you really need to get this taken care of. My sweet Howie was really bad about putting himself aside and concentrating on others. Now, biblically and spiritually, and as a Christian, you know, we pull back and let someone else be taken care of. But there are times when we need to realize that we need to take care of ourselves so that we can do the work, the thing that we're called to do. Now, Howie, there were two times, probably a lot more than that, but there were 2 times in particular. I'd noticed him, there were different things happening around, building fence and doing different things here on the farm, that he would get off just a little bit. The fence wouldn't be just as straight as it should be. He would set a fence post and it would be off a little. And that wasn't like him. He was a perfectionist when he was doing those kind of things. And I noticed that there were several fences. In fact, we still have those fences, the fence posts, and I want to leave them the way they are, because when I look at them, they make me think of him. Not in a way to poke fun of and belittle him at all, but they just make me think of him. And there were other times that he got too close to something and couldn't see it, and he would run into it. And he damaged one of our farm trucks, damaged a corner of our shop. He lifted the corner of the roof up just a little bit. He was a little bit too close. But his depth perception or something like that was off. And he really got to noticing it. He would squint a whole lot when he was trying to see something. We took Blade to the eye doctor, and he made an appointment for the eye doctor himself, thinking that he needed some bifocals to be able to see, to read his Bible, and to prepare his messages for church and stuff. And when he got in there, the doctor discovered that he had a real problem with his eyes. And in fact, it was to the point that eyeglasses alone were not going to be something that the eye doctor could help him with, and he had to have a specialist out of Tulsa to examine his eyes. And they gave him some things, and the next step was actually getting injections in his eyes. And I might have already told you this before, but all along Howie said that he could tell that he wasn't seeing like he was supposed to. And we get those warning signs ourselves, right? You got to see the people on the stage at church or at work. You have to have glasses that you can see distance. And then all of a sudden, when you have those glasses on and you look down at your Bible or your work up there at your desk or whatever it is you happen to do close up, you can't see that. So you're constantly taking your glasses on and glasses off, glasses on, glasses off. And then you realize that not only do you need to see distance, you need the bifocals too. The body gives us warning signals. But Howie got to where he couldn't see. It was kind of like a tunnel, that he was losing vision there. In fact, the doctor told him that if he didn't get in control of it, he was probably going to go blind in the one eye, and they could see beginnings of the disease in the other eye. So it was a serious thing for him that he ignored the signs on, that he might have been able to stop it had he got into the eye doctor and not just thought that it was just his age. One of the reasons why I think that he did that is because he had already went through open heart surgery and had all of the things with that. And I think that he was just to the point of, I don't want to mess with anything else. I'm okay. I'll just take care of it myself. And he did. He had little reading glasses from the dollar store all over the house. When he passed away, I was able to give a pair to each of his sisters of his glasses. And I've got a pair on my side of the bed because I can read with those at night better than with my bifocals. And there's a pair still where He had all of his stuff set on his bedside table and just in pair at the desk. So he was trying to take care of himself, and he had already learned that lesson from when he had open heart surgery. And he, for a long time, was having chest pain, and he did not let Blade know. He didn't let me know. And he worked on his chicken houses out here and mixed concrete up in a concrete mixer and poured it himself all around the foundation of his chicken house, and putting fence in and doing things so that it was predator proof. He worked hard at it and never said anything about hurting. But I would notice at different times that he would kind of, set up in his chair and kind of stretch like this. And on occasion, I had seen him do some things like that with his asthma, because he was having an asthma attack and was having a hard time catching his breath. So it was easy for him to get that past me. After he had his open heart surgery, he told us that he had had a time out there building the foundation, mixing that concrete, that he actually had to sit down because he got to hurting so bad that he thought he was going to pass out. Well, we didn't know. We were doing different things here on the farm, and it could have been a real tragedy out there at that time, if he'd had a heart attack. So I could just go on and on and on with the story, but Howie was bad to ignore the signs that his body was giving him. And one of he thought that he had heartburn. So how our family physician figured out that there was a problem going on with him was he went in to get heartburn medication, and he described his pain to the doctor. And because of his dad's history with a heart problem, and his mom has had stents put in, Dr. Sullivan said, I don't think that this is heartburn. I think we need to get this checked out. And he said, if it ends up being all right, then I'll give you medication for heartburn, but I really think that we need to check. And so they did all the things, angiogram, and so he was having this problem. His body was giving him the warning signals, and he was not paying attention to it. So finally, our family physician caught it. We had all the tests. He was able to have the surgery and was doing great. And then the eye problem come up, and he did the same thing. So our bodies will tell us that we got an issue. Our body will also tell us when we get so physically tired and sometimes emotionally drained that we need to step back a little bit. Now, we're busy people, and we're always doing things. Whether you live on the farm, whether you live in the city, whether you work out on the public job. Now, we all know that we get tired on a daily basis. We physically get ran down. It's time to go to bed and to get rest. But there are times when we are going, and we get so exhausted that we just have to have extra rest. And when we ignore that, we are really setting ourselves up to burn out. And you talk about, and you've heard people talk about burning a candle at both ends. It's easy to do because we are busy people. Young mamas, it's extremely easy for them to burn out. For dads, for grannies, for grandpas, for all of us, because we keep ourselves so busy. The Lord set up a plan for us called Sunday, and we rest. And if you believe in the Lord and you are a Christian, then you know that we go to church and we worship and we spend time in His presence, and then we rest. Howie was faithful, very faithful on Sunday afternoons to get rest. He hardly ever went anywhere or done anything, maybe a special occasion, a holiday or something like that. But he was faithful to get that rest. He trusted that that's what the Lord designed Sunday for, was to refuel the tanks and to get gassed up and ready to go for the week, and to give ourselves some extra strength and some extra push for the week ahead, for the things that we had to do. And sometimes we don't pay attention to that. We keep going until we can't go any further. And we have breakdowns. I know this is a story day. I've been telling you lots of stories, but I remember one time in particular that happened with me. I'd been going. It was right before Howie and I got married, the week of our marriage. And I had been doing all kinds of stuff, tying up loose ends, trying to make sure that, because we did a lot of the wedding ourselves, and I did my own flowers, and we did a lot of the decorating ourselves. And so I had pushed late nights, staying up, trying to get things done, trying to get packed, trying to do all of the things. And so Friday came around. That was our rehearsal dinner. We had people coming in because we got married in Arkansas. We had family coming in from Oklahoma. We had a rehearsal dinner, and you would think it was time to go home and to rest for the night, to get up for the big day ahead of us and the honeymoon and all that stuff. But my granny and my sweet Aunt Bonnie, who wanted to make sure that everything was done to a T. We were at the church, and we were cleaning and scrubbing and just making sure everything was just perfect. And all of a sudden, I realized that I just couldn't go any further. And I sat down on the floor. I can remember sitting down on the floor, 23 years old, of the church, and just crying, because everything come on me at once. I was overtired. I was overworked. I was emotional because I was getting married, and just all of the things hit all at once. And I sat there and I cried. And after I got all done, all the crying was done, I allowed myself to be refueled. I went home. I got a good night's sleep. And sometimes the body tells us, hey, enough's enough. It's time to refuel. You might say, well, how do you refuel? Well, in the physical, we know that, if we're hungry, we eat. If we're thirsty, we get something to drink. And the healthier we eat and the healthier we drink, the healthier we should be. Emotionally and physically and spiritually, all of that has to be fed. And fed in a healthy way. Now, for me, spiritually, the best thing that I can do is have a prayer life and read the Word and spend time pondering on the Lord and listening for His voice. And I hear it in all kinds of ways. I see it in life around me. I'm able to glean something that He's trying to teach me or to show me. And you can do the same thing. In the physical, we know, like I said, eating and drinking, getting plenty of rest. Sometimes we think, wow, we can keep going, but your body will shut down on you if you're not careful. You've got to have rest. You've got to have good rest. And we've got to refuel. We've got to re-strengthen ourselves. We've got to pull ourselves up sometimes and say, hey, we got to do this. A lot of people are concerned about money right now, and we're not able to go on vacations and get away. But there are things that we can do right here at our own places to relax and to refuel, whether it's just going down to the creek or the pond to fish, or going on walks, or finding a shady, quiet spot when it's not raining, and just relax a little bit and to pull back and to allow ourselves to refuel and be prepared to face what the future holds. It's hard for us to do, but sometimes we put ourselves first and we say, I gotta take care of me so I can take care of you. That's hard to do. Sometimes it's a necessity. So I hope that I've encouraged your hearts today to refuel, to re-energize, to get yourself charged back up, and to pay attention to the warning signs that you're low on gas and that you need to pop into that station and to refuel. I love you guys, I really do. Keep looking well to the ways of your household. And until next time, we're gone.